Hi everyone, welcome to the Vital Voices, where we explore the intersection between health, wellness, and entrepreneurship. I'm your host, Emi, and we have a truly inspiring guest with us today. She's a powerhouse entrepreneur, a dedicated and devoted mother, and a certified yoga instructor. Talk about balancing it all. Our guest today is no other person other than the well-known Mofolusade Sonaike, also known as Mumpreneur. She's the driving force and the visionary behind Entrepreneurship, a platform dedicated to empower mothers in business and help them with the tools, resources, and community they need in terms of supporting them to thrive. Beyond her entrepreneurial journey, she's also deeply passionate about wellness and health, and she has led these things has led her to become a certified yoga instructor. So without further ado, let's welcome Mofolusade to the show. Mofolusade, it's such a pleasure to have you.
Thank you.
So we have a couple of questions to ask you. Of course, you can circle back to us. It's always getting to know me, Sulab as well. So first and foremost, I would just like you to tell us a bit about your journey and what inspired you to start Mompreneur. Thank you.
This is always a very interesting question for me because many times I'm thinking, where do I start from? So my journey for Entrepreneurial started way back in 2010. I was working in the corporate sector at the time. I had just had my 2010. I hadn't had my first son. Right, so I was working, he was at school. At some point I just started getting really restless and unsettled because I could never be there for any of his school plays, all these little things that they have. They send me letters, I'm not there, and I was like, that was one issue. The second issue was I also felt stuck, sort of. Like I felt like I was doing the same thing, I wasn't growing. So I decided, bright idea, let me resign and start a business. And because I had an MBA, so of course you think, do a business plan, you put everything on paper, it looked pretty, I was like, I can't do this, I'm going to run a business, and I have time for myself and time for my son. So I left the certain for the uncertain. And I always tell people that nothing prepares you for entrepreneurship.
That's a good time.
And nothing humbles you more than entrepreneurship. So I started this business. It was a gift consulting business at the time, called Transformative. In fact, at that time, people are calling me Tracy Mama. I enjoyed it. I was passionate about it, doing surprise gifts and stuff. But 3 years down the line, I got to a point where it was like, who sent me? What have I done? Because I've eaten up all of my capital. I was burning out. Even the time that I resigned for to say, I want to have time for myself, I didn't have time. So I started blogging about it. And the thing about it is when you're going through stuff like that, especially on social media, you see other people and it looks like everybody is thriving, everybody is balling. Something must be wrong with you. So just to maintain sanity, I started blogging about it. So it started as a blog. Mompreneur just started as a blog, the journey of being Mompreneur. And as I started writing and sharing my real experiences, people started reaching out. Like, oh my God, I can relate to that.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I'm going through that. And I'm like, so we're many in this journey. And that was how Mompreneur started, basically.
I think the major misconception most people have about entrepreneurship is the fact that you have these, where we have these 4 quadrants of self-employed, employed, entrepreneur, investor. So a lot of young people, going from the phase of, I've gone to school, I'm now a professional, I'm employed. A lot of people have the mindset that, okay, next level is just automatic. I want to be self-employed or an entrepreneur. I want to have more time. I want to be my own boss. Unfortunately, it's the opposite because once you start the entrepreneurial journey, your client becomes your boss.
Yes.
So
you now have many bosses.
Exactly. So it gets worse. So I can really imagine how journey has been like. But then I'm trying to figure out how you link that to being a yoga instructor. I mean, at some point, what motivated you to become a certified yoga instructor?
Okay, so my journey continued, and I started training women, and I had like a support group for mothers in particular. And mothers, because that's where I was. I mean, that's why I started my journey, and I was looking for that balance to say, the fact that you're a mother does not mean your life is over.
Yeah.
You can still thrive as a good mother and also fulfill all of your dreams. So the whole idea was giving people, I mean, the tools and the tricks that I used to help myself balance, I was offering it to women as well. And then I went into fitness, wellness, and I saw what it did for me, right? But I hadn't even gotten into yoga. Yoga came during COVID. So COVID, when the world shut down, everything shut down. When we were on lockdown, it was like, and I was back in that place again where I'm like, what is this life? What am I about? You know, how am I going to stay? How am I going to keep myself? So I just stumbled on I started listening to podcasts, a lot of podcasts. And I noticed that each time, Oprah's podcast in particular, and at the end of each show, she would say, how do you stay centered? And people would say, oh, yoga, meditation. What is this? I think I need some of that. So I started looking for, and that was how I started the journey to yoga. And then as I started practicing, I don't know, there's this force, it just pulls you.
Of course.
Yes,
Yeah.
I mean, I realized how I could be, everywhere can be falling apart and I'm peaceful still inside and all of that. I said, well, this is a new tool in my arsenal to offer to mothers in my community. So I said, you know what, it's time to get certified. So I decided to get certified and then add it to the tools in my arsenal.
What was I mean, I feel like when everyone goes through yoga, they have different experiences, but typically most people have an interesting, I guess, learning.
Yes.
Like, what was that for you when you're like, oh, this makes a lot of sense, or this kind of helping me with everything that I'm going through right now?
So it just started, I didn't really know what I was doing. I was just following some videos on YouTube and all that. But I realized that during COVID, it was one thing that I could always come back to. Every time I got on my mat, I just I felt like this was me time. This was, it's just like coming home. And it was the one thing, because I can be a very restless person.
Sure.
I've done all sorts. But yoga was one thing I stayed with. I tell you when I started, I practiced every day at 6 p.m. for 2 years straight.
Get a habit.
6. So that was the first time I realized I can stick to something. There must be something here.
Absolutely.
So that was it for me.
I'm curious, you mentioned this a little bit earlier too, which I think, especially in this day of social media, I think we start to understand our problems are a lot more relatable to others as we start to hear about other people's experiences. I think, which is, it's novel, it's good because you feel like, I'm not the only one.
Yeah.
So like when you started blogging, like what like other than the pandemic, like was there, when other people started reaching out, like what did that relatability, did that kind of, I guess, drive or tell you, oh, there seems to be something here, let's expand on it, or what was that for you and what did that lead to?
So 2 things. For me, the first thing was like, oh my God, I'm not alone. I mean, so I'm not losing my mind. It's not like I'm a failure, right? Because at that time, struggling with entrepreneurship, trying to gather everything, it was like, you failed, you're a failure.
Absolutely.
So that people reaching out first was like, okay, not a failure, there's something here. And then the second thing for me was like, I'm going to follow this through. We need people need a safe space to talk and be themselves, right? So I realized that, I'm going to create that safe space so that mothers can come, because I realized that so there are many other mothers too who are beating themselves up, thinking, failure, or who hadn't resigned, but were so scared, like, what am I going to do? So many of those things, and I realized that sometimes just being able to talk to someone else who has been through that before just takes a load off you, and it gives you clarity so you know what to do.
I'm interested to get your perspective on this, because I think what you're touching on, I think once people, like that aha moment is quite helpful for a lot of people. But one, like especially with founders, it's like the amount of rejection you go through as a founder, especially in the beginning, it's like you can tell yourself it's not you, but it's hard not to take it personally, right? It's like we've all been through that. It's just non-stop rejection. But eventually, I think when you start to be able to filter through it and pick up, oh, you know, from this, am I making progress? Or it's like, am I headed in the right direction? It's quite helpful. And I guess obviously this isn't as relatable to me because I'm not a mother, but like I had some friends that were trying and they were kind of struggling. And I think a lot of women might experience this, but I think societally sometimes we feel like we shouldn't talk about it, which isn't good because when you realize everyone else is going through it or it's much more common, it will probably help reduce the stress a little bit, right? So like with respect to that and like creating safe spaces, what was that journey for you and like how have you tried to, I guess, create that space for other people?
Yes, so by showing myself as not perfect, first of all. I think if anybody asks me for a superpower, I think I'm a superpower. My superpower is being my authentic self. I don't try to present or portray myself as, oh, I have everything together. Oh,
don't fake it
till you make it.
Okay.
People literally watch, and you know what? I have done so many things. From gift consulting, it failed woefully. It was like in front of everybody. Do you understand? So they've seen, and each time, you know, just saying that, oh, you know what, you can, if you fail, so what? You pick up and move to something else. And you know, the thing is, somehow they are all connected because everything you learn from each one, you apply, you know, wherever it is you find yourself. So I think it's by being an example of yourself to show that you don't have to be perfect. Don't package it, don't for me.
Well, yeah, actually, I once watched a video where one of the popular pastors mentioned that for you to actually be able to mentor or actually even talk about success, you must have had a series of failures.
Absolutely.
That the aggression of your take-homes from those failures has now amounted to what you call a success, that next level of success. So I think it's something that every entrepreneur has to pass through. And for the ones that have not really had, I mean, some people get lucky, maybe not lucky, probably they have some sort of leverage as well, that has helped that maybe in the first business, they scale. Those kind of people don't get to actually, I mean, it's debatable.
There's a lot.
It's very debatable.
Yeah, it's debatable, but I'm saying that most of these people don't end up being the best mentors. Considering the fact that by the time you're sharing your own, it gets to be like, it's almost like that time when we're in school when we have these brilliant teachers in codes teaching us for them maths. They expect you to get it at once because they are smart.
Maybe they don't also
They are usually not the best teachers. Yeah, at the end of the day, they are not usually the best teachers. Yeah, so I mean, sometimes it's good to pass through that cycle so that by the time people actually share, you are not up from this place of privilege.
Yes.
You can actually address the situation and give profound advice.
You know, this is why I mean, this quote by Steve Jobs where it says, fail fast. I mean, fail forward fast.
Yeah.
It's not a joke. It's true. So as you're failing, just keep getting up and just keep moving. Keep getting up and keep moving. I tell people that many times people are afraid because they think, oh, people are looking at me, they will judge me. You'll be surprised that people have their problems too.
Yeah.
The people that you think are looking at you and judging, they're also trying to keep their head above water. So getting that out of your head and just living your life and just moving, keep it moving. That's the way to survive.
Yeah, absolutely. I think oftentimes also it's normal. It's like we're all stuck in our heads, and we all sometimes don't realize while I'm the center of my world, I'm not the center of anyone else's world, right? And so it's like if you fall down and trip, yes, someone might stare at you for a minute, but then they're gonna start worrying about their own things and they'll quickly forget. So I think that's great. That's great advice.
I mean, like this thing you said about getting out of your head, and you know, it's one of the things yoga do for me. I mean, literally at my yoga teacher training, my teacher would always say, get out of your head. You know, because when you're trying to get a pose, you're there thinking, I have to get into this pose. I have to get into this pose. People will look at me like I'm a failure, I can't do this. But she says, no, get out of your head and get into it, but just do. And you realize that everybody too is, this person too is struggling to get everybody is, so getting out of your head is really good.
I'm curious about that with yoga. So I started doing yoga this past time when I was in the US. It's helped phenomenally. Like my joints don't hurt as much. Like I feel so much better. But what I found was when I do yoga in a class with other people, it's a bit easier for me to kind of forget about everything. To an extent. But when I'm doing yoga by myself in my room, I'm thinking about, I have this meeting, I have that. So it's like, what's your take on that? How have you worked through that?
So that's where meditation comes in.
Okay.
That's why they go hand in hand. Because a lot of times we have, I forget now, but I know that it's an insane amount of thoughts that we have per second.
Yeah.
You're sitting here, there's just so much flying by. So that's where, meditation, it takes practice.
Okay.
So they say you guys don't practice, constant practice, to make sure that when you get on that mat, initially all the noises are coming, but you keep at it, and then when they all see that this person is not interacting with us, everything just becomes still. You're able to flow practice. So meditation is something that helps with that.
Absolutely, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, talking about balancing it all, I mean, you talked about you being an entrepreneur, you being a yoga instructor. I mean, how do you balance your roles as an entrepreneur, a mother, and yoga instructor?
Okay, let me sound like, I know this is cliche, they always say there's nothing like balance. Balance is a myth.
Yeah.
So it's more like integration. Like, so everything is sort of integrated, it's all connected. And at different points in time, you prioritize some over the others, right? Sometimes you want to make it smoothly, as opposed to beating yourself up. Maybe something else is really, so it's just juggling different balls every day and embracing it, just understanding that this is my life, okay? I'm not judging myself, I'm not beating myself up, we're not, so just integrating the things, some things can work together, fine. Some things may have to fall at some point in time, let it fall, you pick it up again, and you just continue. That's how it works.
With respect to that, and you might have touched on this already, like, was there a specific moment that made you want to pursue the certification? Like, I guess go beyond what normally people do?
Yes. So when, like I said, I practiced at 6 p.m. every day straight for 2 years. And I was doing it alone initially. No, me and my sister. So at that time, we were just obsessed with getting a headstand.
Nice.
That was, I just have to get this headstand. I have to get it. And with the headstand, until you're really calm, you can't get it. You keep falling over. So the day I got the headstand, it's like, oh my God. And I continued to practice. Some people used to join me because I used to go out to sort of like an open space here. So people just join me. So people now started calling me coach. There's the imposter syndrome. I felt I'm just my coach.
Yeah, he's a coach.
Who's a coach? Right? So I said no. You have to go and get proper training and proper certification because it just started as something for me. And then people were, getting on board. And when people now started really taking it seriously, okay, now I have to. I don't want to go and hurt someone.
Of course.
So that's what I went into.
So, what are some of the biggest challenges you faced as an entrepreneur, and how have you been able to overcome them?
Okay, so one of the biggest challenges for me was actually defining what I was doing and monetizing it. So like identifying revenue, possible revenue streams. Because it started out of passion. Oh, let me create this support group. And so I first of all had the challenge defining exactly whether is it an NGO? Is it a trusted an incorporated trustee? Is it this? Is it that? Where am I going to get my money from? Is it from the moms and health? Is it from brands? Is it from so wrapping my head around all of that, getting clarity around all of that was one of the biggest challenges I had. But so I had to engage a lawyer. We talked back and forth, and also just talking with business development people to come in, because sometimes when you're the one in it, you have your blind spots, right? So you can't see, just as you might the business, but they're telling you, no, this is an incorporated trustee. You cannot register it. And I'm looking at all of your activities. Where is the money? And then you have to face reality, and then so just working with a team of experts to properly define it and identify really where is the money coming from. That's one of the biggest challenges.
Was there a specific time though during this journey where where you're like, yeah, this is definitely gonna work? Like, like obviously we've talked about all the rejection that we face as founders, but there's also like there's a time where you're like, oh, I'm onto something. Like I'm getting traction, or I'm doing something that clearly seems to have, I guess, hit product market fit.
You know what? I think this thing has to do with personality. I'm extremely optimistic, which is good and bad, because when you're optimistic, like, yes, I'm doing it. But the money until you crash and burn.
100%.
So I get there a lot of times, like, yes, this is it. But now with yoga, I want to, because now it's defined. I have like a service and offering. So like I do workplace wellness programs, yoga, retreats and stuff. So at least I have the products defined, and I know that people will pay for that. So yeah. And then
and we'll link like all your stuff to the video so that folks can obviously find it as easy as possible. But okay, that makes a lot of sense. And yeah, to your point, it's like I think as a founder you kind of have to be an eternal, or one of the founders at least needs to be an eternal optimist.
Yes.
Absolutely. Because if not, you're gonna die. It's like you're constantly getting rejected. If you're not on, it's like how do you handle this?
Because if you don't believe in what you're doing, if you're not excited about it, I don't know. Maybe that's for me. Let me say if I am not, because let me not speak for everybody. Some people can coast, but I can't coast. If I'm not excited about something, I can't move on to the next. So why am I doing it in the first place if it's not looking like this is it, So I have this is it mindset until.
No, I think that's why it's like I really do think, especially if you're in a co-founding team, there's two. It's like you have the eternal optimist, the visionary, and then you have the pragmatist who brings you down. It's like no, we can't do all of that. Come back to earth. Come back. Yeah, you absolutely. That's why you need a team.
Yes,
yeah,
absolutely.
100%. So that makes sense. But then, yeah, with your journey, with your team, it's like, how did you know who the right people were that you wanted to work with? That would, it sounds stupid. Like I remember when I was younger in my career, I had a great manager, incredible manager, and he walked us through like, he was like the quarter spot. No, not he was talking to us about like ENTJ, ENTP, like your personality traits, talking about corporate culture. And because I was fresh out of college, I'm like, this is nonsense. It's like, but then once you've been in like a toxic work environment, or not even toxic, like potentially something that's not conducive, it's like you quickly realize, oh no, this is quite important. So I guess what were your aha moments or learnings where you're like, this is important, and then how did you make sure that the business that you're creating is creating an environment with people that are similar to you and how they want to work?
So one of the first things I usually look at is shared values. Very important. Shared values. I don't sound, but energy, like energy. I'm very big on energy. Like, do you understand? So like when I spend a few minutes with somebody, I know the kind of energy you give off, and if you're not, because just one person who is out of line with the kind of environment you want to create in your work, one person is out of line, can just come and just poison the whole whatever. So it has to be like people with that kind of energy. Then I also look out for people who have what I don't have. So I've also been able to get some level of self-awareness where I'm like, okay, Shade, this is not your strength. This is not your area of strength, and I'm not going to struggle and be trying to push myself. No, let's get someone who is strong in that area. So yeah, people who complement me, and people who share values and right energy.
I mean, so yeah, I completely agree with this. It's like you can create a very conducive work team, and then one person consistently doing things can start to spoil everything else. Have you had one of those experiences? Or thankfully not.
Thankfully not.
Okay, that's good. Yeah.
So how do you then think? As a risk preferred, as being a mother, has it toned down? It's using the beat. You experience a lot being a mother, the good, sad, and ugly. Do you think it has affected your approach to entrepreneurship?
Yeah, and adding to that, like, do you also think it's potentially reduce your willingness to take risks because as an entrepreneur?
I think for me, I started out, my why was because of the children, right? So they're sort of part of my driving force. But of course, it also dictates the kinds of business. So someone was talking to me recently, she was asking, okay, what do you really, and I'm like, I do a lot of freelance work. Anything that's going to tie me down, I don't take, because for me, freedom of time, flexibility is very important, and that's because I have my why. I know why I decided I wanted to choose this life, right? So I think that's, for me, I choose things that give me some room for flexibility and freelancing, so that when I need to be home and be a mother, I can. Right? When it's really important to be there, I can be there, but not that I'm stuck somewhere. Yeah.
9 to 5 at a desk.
At a desk.
So I think there's place for everyone.
Yes.
Some don't have that extra commitment like you do.
Yes.
And 9 to 5 also gives them that. Should I say that stability a bit?
Mm-hmm.
Then I would say also I've had people. I've worked remotely for numbers of years, but at some point I would say it won't go boring.
You want to meet
Yes. And
Not an issue.
If I work, I'm a social butterfly.
Yeah, exactly. So I had to actually take that part of my life seriously.
Oh, okay.
Because at some point the downside of also working remotely is the fact that you lost track of time. So instead of me working normal 40 hours a week, I can tell you so many times I work double the hour. Because I'm not even checking time. As long as the task needs to be done, I just keep enjoying it. But at some point you get to lose the other aspects of life. So what 9 to 5 does to some people as against freedom, like you said, is that culture. The culture of I leave my home, that routine. It also makes them sane in a way. But maybe not in Lagos.
Listen, what I'm saying,
Yeah.
that was one of the struggles I had when I resigned in 2010.
Yeah.
And when I was part of my blog, I wrote a blog post about that my first struggle then was I wake up in the morning and I'm like, okay, so what next? As opposed to when you're in 9 to 5, your work is sort of cut out for you.
Yeah.
So you know that you have to get dressed, you have to. So sometimes at 2 p.m. I'm still in my pajamas. Because that structure is not there. So I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
It takes a while to now build. You have to now consciously build habits into place.
Yes. For factoring the rigors of Lagos, I would say, freedom is key.
Even along with that though, it's like talking to some folks, like fresh out of college, like a lot of folks, kids that are going into like consulting or banking. I do think a lot of times, especially during the pandemic, it's like their social circle becomes work. In that, like, they're coming from college where you're surrounded by friends all the time.
Yeah.
So you're transitioning out, so then they compensate for that by being like, okay, I'm gonna socialize at work. So that those that were, I guess, transitioning out during the pandemic that lost that, I've heard like through the grapevines, like there was like, there was some like, oh, like how am I gonna socialize? Like this is what I was looking forward to. But having said that, I'll take this any day because I don't like dealing with traffic. So it's like if I can work remotely or off hours, so I don't have to deal with traffic, I'm on board. I'm on board. Yeah.
So can you share a success story or a memorable moment from your journey with Mompreneur.ng?
So success story, a memorable moment would be my movie in 2020. So I had always wanted. So like I said,
I did my research.
Even though it's still there, I know it's not out there yet, but I premiered it. There was a private viewing for it during an international event. So it's something that I always wanted to do because of when I was blogging. I have so much information. I'm interacting with so many mothers. I have so many stories to tell. So I'm like, I want to tell these stories. How else? I'm like, how do you change people's mindsets? How do you, show people, what people are going through? So I said, movies. So I said, yeah, I want to do a movie. So I didn't even know, it's not something I'd done before. My background is a lecturer. I've never done anything. But I put my mind to it. I was able to raise the funds. We got a good story, about a video, and I shot it. So the screening of the movie was really memorable. Highlight for me on this journey. course. Yeah.
What's the name of the movie?
Laura's Bubble.
I guess I have something to watch.
Although let me put it out there. Let me put it out there. I've been struggling with either should I put it out on YouTube because I was struggling with sell it off to, after the screening. That's the part I didn't think about. Okay, so what next? What do we do? Are we going to sell this movie? Are we going to put it in the cinemas? And I realized you can't actually walk directly to the cinemas too. You have to go through marketers. Then you now reach out to the marketers and they say, oh, you have to be a member of this, you have to be a member. I'm like, gatekeepers.
Always.
Yeah,
Okay.
so, but I think I'm just going to YouTube because it's the story I want to, there's a lot of stories I want to tell. I don't want to tell anybody. I want people to see this.
And I think if you keep at it,
Yes.
even with more interesting storyline movies,
Absolutely.
even YouTube is one of the best places to monetize, and especially when you have your audience in diaspora.
I know, right?
Yes.
So, yeah, so
Yeah.
we're going to relaunch it.
Yeah,
so-
clipping the movie and all that, getting generated. Like some of the artists that I've seen that have generated buzz through like small clips, like the shorts. Like they've done such a phenomenal job. It's quite impressive.
I mean, the space has changed.
It's good. Like they're democratizing access to the public. Thankfully,
Yes.
Like as you said, so it's like
So
the
the
gatekeepers.
gatekeepers.
You can find ways around now.
Around
Thankfully,
now.
the gatekeepers.
I mean, if there wasn't this option, I would have stopped. Like, okay,
Yeah.
so I have it. What am I going to do? Yeah, it's a tip.
That's quite, and interesting for like those that are interested. So there's the fundraising component to like a business.
Yes.
What's the fundraising component like for a film? Is it similar or how does that work?
Yes, it's similar. I had to talk to potential investors, but I was upfront. Like, this is my first time. I don't have experience, but I believe in this, and I think we can do it. So selling yourself, selling the idea. So I know some people supported out of, oh my God, this is a valuable project. I think this is something I want to be part of, as opposed to getting returns. Some investors, but I had more of that because I was careful to also say, look, you're going to be part of something that is, creating impact, touching lives, doing this and that. So yes, I have more funding from that side.
Actually, I agree. It's not just for it's not just the fast. I would say what you do is quite interesting.
Thank you.
Yeah, I would say the fact that you've been able to find a way to match everything is what makes it even more interesting. I think the sky is the limit for you.
Thank you.
Probably even the starting point. Okay, so let's talk about yoga and wellness.
Yay!
Exactly what we're here for.
Exactly. So a lot of people, of course, just like going to the gym, I'll go tomorrow, I'll start tomorrow. They don't even know the basics of what yoga is about. It's just I have some of my friends. Mrs. Mofolusade is looking fit. Let me join in the trend to start yoga. But I think it's good we address this, the misconceptions. Insecurities around yoga, what you like people to know, and maybe as an expert, give me your contributions to yoga practice and all. So I would say, how has yoga influenced your approach to business and daily life?
So I said earlier that yoga helped me with staying centered. And it's not just a buzzword because it just taught me how to approach everything with calmness. Okay, so it's not about trying to struggle and push through and all of that. You realize that sometimes, you don't get far with that. You just get caught up in the batteries. But when you can step back, be calm, and approach things, you get better results faster that way than trying to struggle and say, I'm going to do it by all means, I must do that. And then also, yoga taught me process. So when you consistently, like I told the story of my headstand, if anybody told me at the time I started practicing that I would be able to do it, hold up a headstand, I would have said no. In fact, my children and my husband were laughing at me. When I started, they're like, hey, mommy, you want to kill yourself? You're going to break your neck. But I consistently tried, I just followed the process. I was trying every day. And one day, like 4 months in, I just went and I was there.
So can they do headstands?
Oh my God, no, I can. They were laughing at me. I'm not going to teach them.
Yeah, right. It should be.
Yeah,
they should pay.
yeah.
They should pay. So so those are the things that yoga has done for me. So consistent practice, following process and just calmly approaching things.
For those that would want to start yoga, right? And I feel like people run into this problem with a lot of things. Like anyone that goes on a crash diet or tries to exercise too much, I think they overload and then they don't stick to it long term.
Yes.
So yeah, what is your advice on if folks want to get into it? Like what worked for you and what do you suggest for
So I
others?
just give like practical tips on how I started. When I started, I used to practice for 15 minutes, just 15 minutes every day, consistently, just 15 minutes. Because I told myself I can commit to 15 minutes. Wait. Just 15 minutes. Yeah.
Absolutely.
So just doing that as opposed to one day you do like 2 hours. Yes, I mean, tomorrow you won't feel like getting on that man.
Absolutely.
So you start small and then build. So start small. You can do 15 minutes for 6 months, 7 months. It's okay. It's fine. Start small consistently and then you can start stretching and building. So consistency is key. Then I wasn't doing every day. So I had fixed days. That's when I started before I did the stretch of every day. But I was doing, I think, Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. So I know that definitely Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I'm going to do that by 15 minutes. And then my body now got into it. And then when I'm not there, I'm even craving. My body is looking for it.
I love that.
Yeah.
So how long do you think it took you to start increasing from that 15-minute time frame?
I think the 15-minute time frame was about 3-4 months.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah, about 3-4 months.
Yeah, I think that's key. I can't tell you myself and so many other friends that I have a friend, it's impressive, he was doing 2 a days, working out in the morning and in the evening for like 2 weeks. But of course, after some time, it's like your body hurts so much. How do you continue doing that? You can't. So yeah, it's like, I think that's great
Except you're a
advice.
fitness trainer.
Yeah, right? Yeah,
Except
exactly.
you're a fitness
Except you're already fit, so you don't need to do
fitness
that.
trainers,
Right?
take breaks.
I tell you, so I think that's great advice. 15 minutes
Yeah,
every other
15
day.
minutes every day.
It's like, that seems like a very sustainable way.
Yes. I mean, so you have to think about sustainability. What can I commit to, practically, depending on your fitness level, and just stick with that. Stick with
I mean, this your take is actually very important for beginners.
that. Yeah.
I mean, a lot of people, even not just limited to yoga, starting out early in the evening,
Yeah.
especially in gym.
Yes.
You get gym instructors pushing people to their limits in the first.
Yeah.
I mean, I never really understand.
Okay.
Exactly, no pain, no gain in the first. I mean, at the end of the day, a lot of people just check into the gym, then never come again.
Yes.
Yeah, I agree.
Yes.
No pain, no gain.
Exactly.
For a beginner, they just want, it's like,
Yeah.
they don't like pain. And I
Yes.
understand, you have to get used to it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, because the pain is actually very.
Significant.
At some point, you'll be thinking, maybe I'm sick. Maybe there's something wrong.
You can't get out of the bed. It's like, for a beginner, it's like,
You can't move your leg.
Yeah.
You
I feel
can't.
like it's not worth it, exactly. I mean,
yeah, it's like you can't go to work the next day. I joke, like, my cousin, she's the best. But during the pandemic, I actually got stuck in India for 6 months, which was
Okay.
great because I was with family.
Alright.
But I remember one of the times, like, I made her and my brother start working out with me. And like, yeah, well, first time, she's like, I can't get out of bed. And I was laughing, but it's like, it's real. It's like, if your body's not accustomed to it,
Yes.
it takes time. You need to
Yes.
gradually build into it.
Yeah, you have to graduate.
So I think it's actually very important, even for other instructors out there. I mean, no deal also.
Yeah.
I know, right?
Yeah. So, are there misconceptions that you would like to address around yoga?
Plenty. When I saw this question, I was like, yes, here we go. Oh, plenty. So because I have a Christian background. When I started yoga, I got all sorts of people reaching out like, what are you doing? It's demonic. Are you you want to do astral travel? We are going to go into this, that. You're going to all sorts of things. People even send me podcasts. We have whole podcasts online dedicated to yoga, the spirit of something will come inside you, the spirit of this, spirit of that. But I'm so grateful for my teacher at where I got my certification, because that was one of the first things she did for us. So that we did the history of yoga, demystifying a lot of misconceptions that people have as regards the origin of yoga, whether it's a Hindu practice or is it a Buddha practice, whatever, And then, so She says essentially yoga is a science. It is science of, because like we had to do anatomy, all of the anatomy and everything I didn't do in school. I did during my yoga teacher training, and it just got me to understand a lot of things of how these things work and why they work, And yeah, so and then even before I did the certification, one of the things that kept me going, despite all of the it's demonic, is that I'm like, something can't feel this right and be bad. This thing brought me to my center. This thing kept me focused. This thing helped me discipline myself. It can't be bad. If it's bad, then God has to come and tell me.
Absolutely.
So that conception that yoga is demonic or it's a spiritual practice, more a spiritual practice than a science, is really a misconception. It can be. There are some people who have appropriated it to certain cultures and religious practices and backgrounds, which happens in every religion.
Of course.
I mean, if you look at Christianity, some of the, like Christmas is a pagan, the dates is a pagan, whatever. So if you want to begin to dig up all of these things in any religion, you can, right? Absolutely. So why are you practicing this? What is your understanding? What is your, what's your belief system? And I think that's what should really matter.
Absolutely. So like effectively it's like, regardless of, you can take from it what you want. Even if there was a spiritual or religious component to it, that doesn't necessarily mean you have to incorporate that. You can incorporate the scientific part that's quite good for you physically.
Exactly.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
So can you recommend like some yoga practices or things?
Do you have some on your website, or do you have some like how?
Okay, I have a page.
Okay.
I just opened a dedicated page to you.
So we'll link that page as well.
Yeah, I just opened this. I'm going to be putting out basic, beginner-friendly yoga practices. I mean, it's really about just stretching. I tell people that yoga makes you parts of your body that you never knew were there. You discover that they're there because there's this use it, lose it phenomenon. Parts of your muscle, if you don't use it, in future, that's why when people grow old, you find out they start slouching, cannot stand up straight, because they've not really been stretching some of these, and that's what yoga does for you. So yeah.
I'm a firm believer. I don't think I could touch my toes for 90% of my life. And I started doing yoga, and now I can.
Me too.
Right? It feels great.
That was one of the first things. So me too, I couldn't touch my toes.
Right?
When they said the first yoga class I ever went for, was supposed to do forward fold, place your palms on the mat, and just fold over. And I saw people doing it, and I'm like, what sorcery is this?
I'm telling you, I agree completely.
But now I can do it easily.
Yeah, it's a good feeling. I was also like, no, my body's not built that way. It's like, no, it is. Just
Just give it time.
I love that. Do you have like a page, an app or whatnot for the
Yes,
page?
as yoga with Mofolusade.
Okay, fantastic.
Amazing.
That's awesome.
So, but then, from even your routines and all, do you have a way of integrating some of these routines? Except from yoga practices into your daily life and
Absolutely. So daily life, for daily life, one of the best things yoga does for you is it improves your posture.
your
Posture, right? So I find myself always trying to, before, you just see that
That's what I do.
even when I'm driving, it's yoga that now made me conscious. Every time I find myself trying to prop myself back up.
Interesting.
By default, constantly. So you become body aware, right? And then also, because of yoga, I noticed that I used to lean on my right leg a lot. So once I find myself standing, just by default,
Yeah.
And those are the things that cause problems when you're older, because you're putting all the weight here, and this is not really the work it's supposed to do. Then later in life, you now start struggling with this. So I notice and I adjust. So that's in my daily life. And then in business, it's also this being able to just separate myself from events and observe, notice. Just noticing things. So as opposed to just being reactive through life, were observing, taking notes, and just, so that's one thing that I've done for me. So I'm less reactive. In fact, there was a day I was driving in Lagos traffic, and my brother was beside me. So we had gone for a while. I noticed he was looking at me. I said, "How are you so calm?" So I didn't know I used to have road rage. I was that, but he was also looking at me. I was just there, when in traffic it was really bad, but I was calm. I didn't even know. So you don't even know. Yoga changes you in many ways that you don't even notice. It's people around you that will be like,
I think you think.
something is different.
Yeah.
Something is different. Yes.
Low blood pressure.
I mean, it's hard driving into Lagos in the
Oh,
rain.
it is. But like me, when it gets really bad,
Yeah.
I have a speaker I carry around. I just put on music. I just okay. Yeah.
What to do? Can't do anything. Yeah, Lagos brings out the road rage in a lot of
Oh,
cities,
yes.
myself included.
Seriously, you
You
just
see
wonder.
people who are by nature very calm and said when they're driving,
Oh my god.
it's a different.
It's a battlefield out there.
It is.
Everyone
I think it's stressful. By the time you are done
It's
driving,
like everybody's coming at you,
Right?
and from the back as well.
I mean,
Yeah, it's a game. Like, how do you
Yeah.
get through?
Before now, I used to believe. I used to enjoy driving a lot.
Mhm.
If I ever go to Lagos, I enjoy driving. Like,
Where were you before?
I've been in Badon.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
So,
Yes.
yeah, so you enjoy driving.
Yes.
Then only for me to hear of, I was speaking with a cousin of mine that just got wedded then. So she got married. The next thing the husband got a driver for her. And I'm like, you're too young to have a driver.
You wouldn't understand.
Drive this thing, enjoy your life. Like, why want to? The reason for it's because I enjoy driving that I actually go for performance vehicles and enjoy the speed. Throttle and throttle everything.
That's very cool.
Oh,
You will not
man,
even get to
in this
experience.
Lagos. And say the only time you enjoy driving is probably when you head to the club or drive at night
Yes.
and you run on top Milan Bridge and you feel good. Except that
Yeah.
nothing.
Right when you bypass all the traffic, you're like, there's some free space.
Yes.
That's what you're having.
Yes, because everything, even no matter how much I determine to be cool, that's when you see one of these yellow buses just.
So you see why everybody living in Lagos needs yoga.
Yeah, I was saying at this
We
moment.
all need it.
Absolutely.
Everybody's angry and stressed out.
It's tough.
So is there a place? Beginners like me can come to, maybe on the mainland or on the island that you get to
There are
feature.
many places. So I host community classes in where I stay. That's in Ode. But there's also my teacher who has she takes community classes Wednesdays and Saturdays. Is in Anthony. And there's also I know a few places on the island.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know a few places on the island. I'm looking into online classes as well, but it's not quite yet because for beginners, sometimes you just need that someone to just put you through the alignment. So what I'm working on is I'm looking at hosting a workshop in September. So like just you want to start your practice, here's what you need to do, at least need to know to start your practice. So we'll take you through basic alignments and postures and asanas so you can go on and practice yourself.
Nice. Let's see if we can get this information linked in so that folks can.
Thank you.
Of course. Thank you for telling us. Yeah.
So what advice would you give to someone who is struggling to maintain consistency in their wellness routine, probably due to busy schedule?
So one thing I said, start small. Start small. Be true to yourself. What can you really commit to? Because if you're not enjoying it, if you're seeing it as a punishment, if you're seeing it as something, here we go again.
Absolutely.
You'll be counting down to like, let me do. And the thing about wellness is it's a lifestyle. It's for life. So it's not like, I'm going to do it for 6 months and yes, I'm done. No, sorry. It's lifestyle. So even if it's once a week that you're going to do, even if it's walking. So before I got into yoga, I started with walking. I got up one day and I told myself, do I go? And I'm just like, I can continue like this, what is this? So I said I'll walk for 1 hour every day. So if it's walking, it's just, and movement is life, movement is very important. It helps your mental health. because when you're just out there, you're processing a lot of emotions, all of these things are coming out, and you're able to clear your head and stuff like that. So I would say start small, be true to yourself, commit to something, no matter how small, and then you can build up and build up and build up. And then your journey is unique to you. Don't compare yourself with other people like that. Because see that guy is because once you start that, pressure, pressure. So for some people, I know some people who say, "Oh, yoga is not for me." Fine. If yoga is not for you, find something that's for you. If it's like, "Oh, I love tennis," or "I love swimming." I have a friend who started yoga, whatever, practice with me. And it was really not because she had a wrist injury, there were a lot of things she struggled. She's a fantastic swimmer. So I said, "So why were you able to just swim? Come into swimming 3 times a week, 2 times a week. Find a place where you're doing it consistently." So find something that works for you and stick.
It's great advice.
I mean, but then even as a swimmer, is there no way she could have probably linked it to you that would be like eventually?
If she wanted to, right? So you have to really want to. You have to want to.
Yeah, I can relate to that. It's like, I mean, I tried yoga a long time ago.
Okay.
It didn't hit. Like, I mean, at the time, it was just not something I was interested in. But then, many years later, recently, tried it again, and I'm like, oh, this is fantastic. Like, I love it. It works.
So shifts happen. You
Yeah.
can try it now and you're like, oh, it's not for me. But later in life, you find out that you try it again and you see that, oh, okay, maybe a shift has happened. So,
Thank you very much for the insight.
thank you.
So, how do you incorporate mindfulness into your decision-making process as a business leader, considering the fact that it's something you have to keep making decisions every time, every day as a business leader?
So mindfulness basically is conscious living or being intentional about everything you do. It's very easy to get caught up in the zombie life, and so many of us are living like zombies. You don't even know, like, you walk through a door, you didn't even notice anything. You talk to people, you don't even remember who you talk to, you don't remember what you said because you're not in the present moment, right? So it's about just bringing yourself back to the present moment. Because all we have is now. The only thing you can control is now. You're in a conversation with somebody, be there fully, right? So how I incorporate it in business and whatever is anything I'm in, I'm all in, I'm there in the moment, soaking it all in and just being present as opposed to trying to live it, trying to relive maybe the past or trying to think about the future. And this happens a lot. Sometimes people are in conversations and they're, as opposed to listening to the person you're talking to, they're trying to rehearse what they're going to say in their head and they're stuck with that. So you miss out on life. Really, you miss out on life. And it has helped me. So in business and even as a mother, because sometimes you can be a mother, you are there but you're not there. Right? And children really need that emotional presence and availability of parents, not even just a mother, parents. So my children are talking to me, I actually see them, like truly see them and hear them. Those things help. I think we'll have less angry people.
Yeah, it's tricky considering the fact that why most people are guilty of that it's not even intentional.
That's the whole thing. So that's the whole idea. The opposite of mindfulness, you're not living intentionally.
Sure.
You're just coasting through life.
But then due to a lot of
I know.
Yeah, I mean it's hard trying to stay actually mindful.
Even for me,
Yeah.
I still find times where I veer off.
Yeah.
But I just recenter myself. So sometimes I know that of course, in eating, in everything, I know that not today. It's okay, tomorrow is another day. Get back to center and stay in the present moment, conscious and live intention. So it's practice. The more you are conscious of it, the better you get at it, and then it just becomes part of you.
Would you say prior to starting yoga and I guess immersing yourself in it, as a business entrepreneur, did you find yourself not focusing as much in meetings or not focusing as much in conversations, and then the being here now component significantly improved with yoga, or do you think that was not necessarily because of yoga, more just as you matured?
It was a mix of, as I matured, yoga, and of course, I said there was this period where I listened to a lot of podcasts and read a lot of books. When I was young, I was not a book person. When people talk about, oh, I read this book, I'm like, what are these guys feeling like? I mean, I was in school, I did engineering, but I was just there reading the books that I needed to read to pass. Let me get the hell out of here. Who sent me?
The night before this cram.
Do you understand? Right? But, like I said, COVID changed a lot of things. For the first time, I had to sit with myself, truly see myself. I'm like, nah. This is not what I want. This is not the life so I started reading a lot of books, I started listening to a lot of podcasts, and that's what led me to yoga. And just helped with changing lifestyle.
Nice.
So let's talk a little about one of the strong pillars of Mompreneur.
Okay.
So from my research, I understand that you're quite big on community and support. So how important is community support for mompreneurs? And what role does Mompreneur.ng play in fostering this community?
So community is everything. I remember I said earlier that I wanted to create a safe space where mothers can come and just be themselves and not feel judged. 1, 2, curate events for mothers where they can go and just be themselves. So I noticed that, after having kids, they don't get to go out, they don't get to experience life. It was like everything is just passing you by. You can't go for events with your baby because they're not baby friendly, they're not so. Part of creating that community is curating events where babies are welcome, don't worry, we got you, come, come out. And also online communities where we can have conversations. You want to ask about something and without being judged or whatever, you are free to ask, and you know that somebody will answer and point you in the right direction and all of that. So community is very big, and that's what Mompreneur is about. That safe space where others can come and get solutions and also understand that they're not alone.
I think this is very important, both for mothers and even
humans, right?
Yeah, even intended mothers as well.
Okay.
Because I get to see a lot of tweets fly around where you see a lot of young women, both millennials and Zs, mention that okay, I don't want to enjoy flex my life till a particular age if I get married. And that's because it's almost like once I get married,
that's the end of
it. And my life practically pauses.
Yeah.
Till maybe my children grow to a certain
and that
level.
should not be.
Yeah, now might be knowing better but then especially in a city like Lagos, for example, where like you mentioned, a lot of places are not baby friendly.
Yeah.
Even imagine your corporate work or corporate life with being a mother.
Yeah.
It's a big deal on some.
Yes.
So no matter how good or baby friendly the environment is, the offices, it's still not as perfect as we want to. So I think it's good that you have this kind of event support, and are there probably a couple of events coming up in the future that you want the audience to know, maybe stuff like this that even mothers, young mothers can come, even though they are not yet
yes,
members
because
of
actually part of the online community, we have intended mothers. Because, we are naturals generally, so you may have your biological children or non-biological, whatever, and you need support. So yeah, we have intended mothers. So the next event is around, I think we're working on one for September. So another thing we do is like online events to create support or train or help connect mothers with opportunities. So in September, we're having a webinar to introduce moms to opportunities in international development. So I've got speakers lined up who will be, and it's free, they're volunteering. So it's going to be an opportunity to know, okay, what's out there for me? Because another thing, a lot of moms, take a career break, and now they're looking to go back into the workplace, and they don't know what to do, they don't know where to look, how to go. So those are some of the things that we're going to be talking about in that.
Yeah, also I like this because
Okay.
I get a lot of my people actually like free things. So
Yeah.
I'm sure
Who doesn't, right?
we'll be happy to jump on it.
Yeah.
So once it's cool, we'll be happy to,
Yeah, September
class
29th.
at
It's
the-
already put out the material.
Great.
I'm
So,
curious. Well, kind of going.
go.
Yeah, kind of going along with that. Like, so I would say this is something I think that's similar in a lot of Asian cultures and Nigerian cultures. Like, well, what will people say? That mentality. So it's like fostering a safe space where people aren't going to be judged. I guess it's easy to say, but it's hard to convince people that's the case. So how did you guys do that?
So you know this thing, it flows from the founder. I think one of my gifts is, so I'm the first of 6 children. People talk to me, if I must say so,
Yeah.
right?
Absolutely.
People feel safe talking to me. I think I'm largely non-judgmental. And it starts, and you know this thing about energies and culture. So people, there's this lifestyle program we do, training program we do before mothers are admitted into the. So you have to read certain books. You have to, for 21 days, you go through a process before you're admitted. So it's not just come on everybody, no, because we're looking for certain types of people. You don't want somebody who's going to come in and then somebody now puts something out and she's like, how could you do that?
Absolutely.
Yeah, so we have that training and exposure to certain things so that we have people who have the same mind and understanding. So that's how I managed to keep that. So it's not, that's why it's not, I don't advertise. Many times it's referrals for the online community, it's a closed community. It's referrals to say, okay, I think this person needs support, and I get to talk to the person and say, okay, you have to go through this, like a course, for 21 days, you have to go through it. When you finish, you are admitted into. So that's how that works.
Thank you. So can you talk about, very similar to what I asked earlier, but now maybe upcoming projects or initiatives at Mompreneur that you are particularly excited about?
Well, at Mumpreneur, I think the webinar that's coming up, I'm excited about that. I'm looking to, of course, launch my movie on YouTube.
Yeah.
Through it open.
Yeah,
So yes, that.
that.
So that the world can, more people can get to see it. And in December, we're looking to have an event for moms that would be baby friendly, where moms can come and play and just have fun.
And relax.
Just be a child again.
Yeah.
And while your babies are taken care of. So that's
That'll be exciting.
Very
exciting.
Yeah.
So what resources or advice would be offered to aspiring mompreneurs or even the ones watching who are just probably starting out? So what's resource for us?
Advice, first of all, is just find your tribe. You need a community. You can't do anything alone. There's some people who always feel like, oh, I have to be the be all and do all of my family. Only me carrying baby, only me do everything. No. You need people, right? So you can join the Mofolusade community, but you know that we have a process for accepting people. But even then, I put out free content on the page most of the time, just advice and stuff like that. So find a community. Do not look at it as, oh, I'm now a mom, so my life is over. No, your life is not over. You can still do everything that you want to do and you've always wanted to do with your life. And then, like my friend said earlier, I love to put that out again. Get out of your head. Get out of your head. Nobody's looking at you. Nobody cares. Really, nobody cares. Just do what you have to do. Do what you have to do.
I'm actually excited about this for mothers. But then, for mompreneurs, maybe not saying good, that are not opportune to have this physical community support. Like people that have japa, they are far away from family, far away from friends that can be of assistance, and they have to work. You can't, there's the opportunity of a sole provider, it's limited there. And now, the only resource they have is your online community. How do you practice?
So beautiful, because I have people from Canada, people in the UK, Nigerians who are part of the community. And one of the things we try to do is connect people. So like if you're entrepreneurs in the UK, at least you have, you have someone you can always call and reach out to, because everybody has gone through that training process. So at least we know that we are aligned in our type of thinking and all of that. So people in different, sometimes maybe we just have one person in a particular location. Once we admit someone else in that location, connect them, right? So at least they can get to. So I know people in the US who have, come together to meet up, and do all of that. So just knowing that you have people who have your back and who understand where you are at, the phase you are at in life is a relief. So that's how we do that. So whatever community you are in, if you find someone in that location, we can connect you to that person. So,
Interesting. That's fantastic. I mean, I guess more on the business side, I guess if you could go back to your 2010 self, is there certain things that you're like, all right, well, these are the mistakes, I'm glad I made these mistakes.
Yes.
But like, why don't, instead of you having to go through it again, like, this is what I would do. Or like, what kind of, I mean, yeah, you have a time machine, we've all dreamt it. Like, these are the things I would do again and in a different way, or these are the things that you should, the advice that you'd say are like the golden things that would, if you had to do it again, the approach you'd take.
My number one tip that I always tell people from hindsight is before you start any business, go and either run a pilot. So you can run a pilot with just if you're going to spend 2 million on the business, spend 200,000 first running the pilot.
Yeah, for sure.
Right? And so that you can do you make all your mistakes there, tweak and whatever. That's one option. Or go and meet someone who's already running that type of business and work with them. So submit yourself to them, work with them. There's nothing like learning on the job. So you want to start, no matter how basic or whatever the business looks, there is no basic business. Everything has its own tricks and tricks. So I mean, it's always good if you go and learn someone who's already running the business. Go and offer yourself, volunteer, work with the person for some time before you go and set up on your own. So I think that would have saved me a lot of heartache. I mean, there are two things could happen. You could get start working with the person and realize this is not for me. Or you're like, oh, definitely I can do this, right?
Absolutely.
And even in running the pilots, two things can happen. You can say, oh, nah, or you go ahead and do it. So those two things are something I would advise anybody. Always just...
Yeah, actually, while I agree with you, I mean, the one within your control a bit is the pilot, which a lot of tech managers say is non-viable product.
Oh yeah.
But then the aspect of getting a mentor sometimes can actually be difficult as well. Yeah, considering the fact that the person leading the space that you're looking at probably has a lot of people like you trying to be a mentor. So then, I mean, can you still win? Just certainly for the one within your control. Pilots can probably.
Oh yes, you can. But also, this one that you say is difficult. What is not difficult?
Yeah, sure.
Everything is difficult. Everything is difficult. So you have to have the mentor-mentee relationship. Usually, it's not one way. What are you offering to? Right. So it's people who approach the mentor-mentee relationship with bringing something to you. You can't reach out to somebody and say, "Oh, I'm good at process management, or I'm good at operation management or something. Let me come and help you do this bit." And they're like, "Oh, okay, don't worry, I'll do it for free or something." And they would open, so it's just like this ego culture, the boy system that they have. So if you're offering something to mentor, I don't think any mentor will really resist that. I mean, there might be people who have had their fingers burnt and may not be open to, hey, but you move on to another person, they're not the only one.
Yeah.
So find another person.
Sure, and I guess we're in a lucky age that with LinkedIn and social media, there's a lot of folks or mentors/mentees that are at your fingertips because you can leverage those relationships. Yeah. So, because I do think it's also important. It's like the mentor, like you can find if you have 5 people that could potentially be your mentor, that doesn't mean they're going to be good mentors or mentees for each other. It's like you also do need to find the right fit.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes. And sometimes mentoring, even sometimes it could just be reading all their books, consuming all of their content. There's some mentors I had when I was going to start business. There's some mentors I had online that till now they don't know me. But I read every single book that they put out. I read every single post that they put out. I watched every single YouTube video that they put out. So they know they're mentoring me, but they don't even know me. So that's one thing.
I get you. So I mean, you've had an interesting journey so far, and I would say a lot of them have been socially impactful.
Yeah.
So, which one? I mean, what has been the most rewarding aspect of your journey for you so far?
Becoming a mother.
Mm.
Yeah, becoming a mother, you know, made me want to live. Yeah, made me want to be better. I think everything. I could have still been, if I didn't have a son, if I didn't have a child, I would have still been working in like 9 to 5 job at the desk, grumbling, bitter, frustrated. But I wanted to do it I wanted to be there for my son. So that started the whole process of discovering myself, becoming better, and just everything. So I think becoming a mother for me was like, yeah.
I guess going along with that, obviously, like becoming a parent, we can all talk about it, but until you become one, you're not going to really understand it. So between your pre-mother self and your post-mother self, right? What were the changes, the unexpected changes that you, I guess, would never have thought would have happened that happened? And it doesn't necessarily have to be positive or negative. It was just unique changes that you didn't see coming.
You know, okay, so as my pre-mother self, carefree, you know, whatever.
Absolutely.
I love to sleep. You think that being a mother, I mean, becoming a parent means that you have these little minions to control and whatever. But they're actually the ones that teach you, you know, because you discover that they mirror you. It's not about, oh, I tell them what to do and they do it. No. They're observing what you're doing and they're soaking it in. So you see some traits in them and it's giving you an insight into you. And you're like, oh my God, I need to fix that. So like for me, one of the first things, I started waking up I never used to be a 5:30 or 5 a.m. waking up person. Oh, my father tried. Oh, you would shout. Oh, the lazy man is in bed at 7. He used to. But when I now have the children, 5, I'm home. I have to. Because, you know, if I want them to wake up and get ready for school, I have to be listening. And then waking up in the morning, picking up my phone, you know, and not doing, and I'm telling you to go and pray. But they see me waking up and picking up my phone. Obviously, they are not going to take me seriously. So I had to become better.
Yeah.
To
That's interesting because actually, based on what you're saying, I used to have it a lot on Twitter when people have all these gender issues.
Yeah.
There was a time, I don't know if you're aware, when the woman was tweeted that she wakes up 4 a.m. for her husband.
And she got a lot of gifts and money, I remember.
But then, I mean, a lot of people, a lot of younger women were angry about the whole thing that it's about misogyny and everything, control and everything. I was having a conversation with a female friend that my mom, I've always known, even now she's over 60, I would say I've always known her to wake up by 4. Max by 4, if you're going to the toilet, you see my mom already moving around, typing some things. I never really understood why, because to me, I mean, don't wake me up till 6. So why do you have to wake up 4? Well, from the feedback now, it actually now makes sense that even the person waking up 4 a.m. now as a mother didn't initially start just waking up by 4.
Yes.
So probably
I never used to be sleeping and all of that. But
so that makes a lot of our debates online. It's actually relevant. I mean, a lot of people that say, oh, I can't wake up by 4, do this, actually end up doing those things and beyond.
You end up doing it because,
Exactly.
you know, because
And not for your man,
children
for your kids.
they're subconsciously, so like for your mom waking up at 4,
Yeah.
I'm sure it has impacted how you
Yes,
approach
exactly.
your mornings.
Yes.
Yeah. So your children are subconsciously soaking in your habits.
Yeah.
So if you don't structure yourself and do better, yeah. So you are there shouting, "Oh, you must do this, you must," but you are not doing it. They're not going to do it.
Absolutely. Yeah, true. It's like the whole do as I say, not as I do doesn't work.
It doesn't work.
They do as they see.
It doesn't work. They do as they see.
Yeah, that's a very good point.
Very insightful. So talking about books, I mean, you've mentioned
Oh yeah.
you're an avid reader and you've read a lot of
Yeah, I
podcasts.
became.
Yeah,
I
exactly. So are there any books, podcasts, or other resources
So
that particularly inspired you?
first book that I read that really got me on this journey was The Game of Life and How to Play It by Florence Strongshay. Oh my god, amazing book. Then I read Atomic Habits by James Clear. Think and Grow Rich. Napoleon Hill.
Yeah.
Then I also read The Power by Rhonda Byrne.
Yeah.
Amazing.
It's different from Forget.
She's the one that wrote The Secret.
Oh, okay.
She wrote The Secret, but The Power is the one I
Yeah.
that was also amazing. Then for podcasts, oh my god, Oprah's Super Soul Conversations. That was my church during COVID. I watched every single one, and then she had this Oprah's masterclass where she brought people. So just hindsight, talking about your life, different people, you get to learn a lot, and you just find out at the end of the day, we're all the same. Black, white, blue, red, we're all the same. We have the same struggles, we have the same, so it was just soaking those in was very interesting. Her podcast, the conversations are very rich, and then there was a book she wrote because she invited, was it Bruce? Forgotten his name, but there was a book, What Happened to You? She co-authored it with someone, Bruce something. I read that as well. I was just reading on those things.
Yeah, I was gonna say, so you went through a lot.
Yeah.
Nice.
I mean, these are key books to
Yes.
touch on, even for me. I read too, but I wouldn't even say have scratched out. But then I remember one of the ones that actually made that shifted my perspective about life was The Alchemist.
Oh,
Yeah,
I need to read that.
Yeah, so I mean, it's made me, just like a lot of things we've talked about in terms of yoga.
Yeah.
It has a way of making you understand that being mindful about everything, living life itself, because nothing happens by chance, by accident.
Yes.
It's almost like the universe
It's conspiring to.
sensei. So it gives a level of control. I mean, every time I read that book, it makes me feel like super hero.
I need to read that.
Yeah.
The only time I read that when I was not an avid reader, when somebody forced me to. So I was just like, I
you need
didn't
to read
understand.
it.
But now that with the awareness I have now, I need to read
Very
that.
interesting.
Oh yeah, then I read Power of Intention by Linda. That was also.
Oh, amazing. So, if you could practice yoga anywhere in the world, where would it be? And why?
I have this big dream to climb Kilimanjaro.
Yes.
Yeah, so I would like to practice yoga on the summit. So when I summit it someday soon, I'll practice yoga there.
I love that. My bucket list is to climb Tanzania. Not to do yoga, but to climb Tanzania.
Oh, really?
Kilimanjaro, that's on my
Yeah,
bucket list,
okay, good. So
Absolutely.
we can
And
work
then
on that
yeah,
together.
right? And then do safari after, right in the base. Yeah, that sounds amazing.
Yeah, so I mean that's what.
That would be. I would love to climb and then like just see someone doing yoga. I feel like that would be such an interesting sight to see. Yeah.
I'm doing Kenya in November. Okay.
Nice.
I mean,
Okay.
because I heard that you have to experience someone with that. Don't just one kid.
Work your way up.
Yeah.
Fair.
So,
That's impressive. That's exciting.
yeah.
Nice.
So outside of climbing mountains, yoga and entrepreneurship, what are other hobbies or activities you enjoy?
Spending time with friends. Like I said, I'm a social butterfly. Because you always have something to learn from people. I'm the kind of person who, I mean, when I meet people, I listen, I pick things. So I pick something from everybody I meet, and I just feel like anybody I meet, I was meant to meet them. There's a reason why, right? So I'm very big on. I'm a people person, really. So my hobby is meeting people and hanging out with people. Yeah. So that's I enjoy.
Thank you very much.
Thank
So,
you.
if you can respond. So I wanted to ask that if you were to collaborate with any other entrepreneur
Okay.
or probably one expert,
Okay.
who would it be? And why?
I like yoga with Adrian. Adrian Because when I started my yoga journey, she has this 30-day challenge that she used to do, and that was one of the things that helped me with my yoga journey. And I think she's amazing, consistent over the years. A lot of people started their yoga journey, well, in Lagos that I know of. When I talk to them, oh, you've tried, oh, you too, you did 30-day challenge, oh, you did this, so. So yeah, that would be somebody I'm really excited to collaborate with.
Interesting. I hope she's watching this,
I
right?
hope so, right? It'd be nice to have a retreat with that.
Yeah, it's a big, it's a big. So let's talk about your future aspirations. Where do you see yourself an entrepreneur in the next 5 years?
I would like to be in other countries, right? Because I know that the challenges mothers face are universal. It's the same thing everywhere, so we have the same problem. So I would like to, establish this kind of safe space, replicate it in other countries across Africa.
It's noble.
So does that mean we jump back?
No, they say, I said like Nigeria is love and hate. We are here. We're here.
Okay.
We're here.
Okay, so hopefully, which are there maybe countries or maybe continents that you have in mind? Say that.
Africa. Africa. I'm looking at
Probably Tanzania, because
I know, right?
because she's gonna go anyways. Kilimanjaro anyways.
Okay,
And Kenya, because she's
Yes,
going to Mount
Kenya.
Yes.
Yes, and maybe Rwanda.
Yeah, of course.
Yes.
Of course.
You are running with the universe.
Yeah. It just so happens those are the destinations she needs to go anyways for the bucket list.
Exactly. So I might as well be making it practice.
Right? Yeah,
I
absolutely.
mean, I think that's the best way to live life.
Yes.
100%. Work, enjoy, and create impact. Yeah. So, what are some professional or personal goals you are currently working towards?
Climbing Kilimanjaro.
That's a really good one.
That's one.
Yeah.
On top. And also just so I just recently decided to structure my yoga business, like separate it from the whole Mompreneur bucket. So structuring that business and getting more corporate organizations on board so that I can offer it as a service. And I'm working on hosting yoga retreats. So,
Have you heard of, or have you seen the pictures of Mount Kilimanjaro from the book Summit? If you haven't, you should Google it. It's like, so
that would
it's
inspire me.
it's unbelievable. It's
I
like,
just have to.
I'm telling you, like I saw this, and then they're like specifically on the full moon is huge because you're high up.
Yes.
It's absolutely stunning. So
The picture
I have to align my timing.
I'm saying that, so you
with
should
that.
try to do that because it's phenomenal. It's
Okay.
phenomenal, yeah.
Okay. So you know the interesting thing about this Kilimanjaro story. So for my 40th, that was my plan. That on my 40th birthday, I will go mountain climb. I'll climb Mount Kilimanjaro. But alas, I got pregnant at 39-ish, and I was
Small hiccup.
I was with a baby. All my dreams to climb for my 40th down the drain. And after you have a new baby, it takes a while to get yourself. So I had to now start building, and then I pushed it forward. Okay, we'll do it again. By the way, I think it was a good thing that I didn't do it then, because I'd never done any mountain climb. Because now I know that you have to try to do some of the mountain.
Prep work before.
You don't just jump.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
yes.
I never knew that until this session.
Yes, so just try Mount Akure,
Yeah, right?
try Mount Olumọ.
Yeah, I did Olumoro when I
Start
was
from there.
26.
Oh, okay, I did it recently.
Yeah.
And there's one part that was very steep.
Very steep and narrow.
I was dizzy.
And even slippery.
Yes, and slippery
Yeah.
too. And they're like, no, don't worry, nobody falls there. I'm like, what?
Yet. Right
But I
here.
kept thinking, oh, you're doing Kilimanjaro. So you better conquer this little one.
I mean, my mom was not to find that I ever did that. I was
In
practically the only
primary
student
six.
that got to the top.
Are you serious? Yeah, because it's really
Yeah.
steep.
I mean, I do take risks. I'm alive.
This is what you need to do.
So join us on Kilimanjaro.
Yeah, I guess now you're making me feel like it. It's something I have to consider. So thank you, Montreal.
Thank you
So
for having me.
it's really been a worthy session.
Thank you.
I mean, I've learned a lot, and I'm sure our viewers have been able to learn a couple of things, far more than a couple.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I wish you the best in your endeavor, Mompreneur, your movie.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
I'm looking forward to that too.
Yeah.
And even your yoga page now, the growth
Yeah.
of it, we'll be keeping our eyes on space.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Thank you.
hopefully next time we'll call you to come on board again. We'll have even new master session.
Yes.
Alright. So let's round off today.
Yep.
So I mean, for everyone watching us, we look forward to you staying true to this page to see people that bring us vital voices, people that are making social impact in their space, in their community, and as entrepreneurs. Thank you for your time.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks so much.